If you're struggling to be sovereign, to achieve sovereignty, to achieve a status where you are free, certainly more free than you are now, and really stepping into your power to achieve greatness, there's usually just a few reasons why. There could be many different factors along the chain of causality, but from my experience, it usually boils down to just one of several things at the root level. So what I want to do is cut to the chase. I want to cut to the chase and just give you the high level of what the most impactful mistakes are on the path of sovereignty, so that if one of them is relevant for you, you can start to take action. Also, if you're brand new here, I'm David Greenberg, and I'm the founder and managing director of the Freedom Studio. So we are a private education organization that focuses on helping our members be great and unlock their infinite worth. And we do that through our core curriculum, which is principally focused on natural law, private trust law, and equity. And we do have a couple of other topics as well. We deal a lot with health and wellness. We deal with holistic health, mindset, business growth strategies, and more. So if any of that is valuable to you, then I invite you to stick around, see what we have. So on today's video, I'm going to give you 5 main reasons why you are struggling to be sovereign. 5 main reasons. And just see if any of them resonate with you, if that's an area where you could benefit from focusing, from taking some action. So the first reason why you're struggling to be sovereign is you're too focused on what's going on out there. You're too focused on the outer world and not enough on what's going on inside of you, inside your mind, inside your heart, and just in your being. You haven't really taken the time to see how you are potentially an obstacle on your own path to sovereignty. Things like embracing a victim mindset, playing the blame game. Yes, there is blame, and yes, there are people and factors outside of you that are going to have an impact, of course. I am not suggesting that you think like there is nothing outside of you. However, most people in my experience are neglecting the inner world and too focused on the outer world. Whatever changes you want to see in your life, it's all going to start with what you do within yourself. And the first step, of course, is to know yourself. Know yourself, know your weaknesses. What are your triggers? What tends to set you off? What tends to get you acting in an almost programmed way? What are you motivated by? What inspires you? What tends to get under your skin? How do you react or behave in a wide variety of circumstances? So you've got to learn about you. You've got to know yourself. Of course, that's really the only way to come to truly love yourself, is to know yourself and know both your strengths and weaknesses, and come to an acceptance of who you are, but also change the parts of you that can be changed. And as you start to go within, something beautiful happens. A whole new reality unfolds for you, and all these new possibilities unfold, because yes, you're going to face things that are potentially going to be uncomfortable. Well, let's just say they're definitely going to be uncomfortable. It might even be a little bit scary. But on the other side of all that is all the greatness that you could ever desire in life. So you've probably heard things about looking in the man in the mirror, or be the change that you want to see. Well, that's what it's all about. You've got to start with yourself. You've got to go within. You've got to heal. People in this, in the freedom community and the sovereignty movements, any aspect of them, are always talking about remedy. But I wonder how many of them have looked at the derivation of the word remedy, which comes from the Latin remedium, to heal or to cure. So remedy starts when you learn how to heal yourself. And the only way to heal yourself is to look within and see what needs to be healed. That's what allows you to become your own doctor. That's what allows you to become your own psychologist. Not that you would never get help from anyone outside of you, but you are your principal advisor. So that first step, that first obstacle to true sovereignty is you're not really going within. So start with that. So start by building the courage that it's going to take to look within. Because it is going to take some courage for you to do that. It's not going to be comfortable, especially if it's the first time you've really done that. Some have called it shadow work, and I think that's a great description because you're looking in the shadows of your psyche and looking to, like I said, to bring to light that which has been hidden. So in conclusion, on that first point, if you truly desire to step into sovereignty and unlock that greatness within you, you're going to have to commit to the inner journey. There is no bypassing it. There's no getting around it. There's no get out of jail free card. There's no skip this step and go to the next one. You're just going to have to commit to that. And as uncomfortable as it may be in the beginning, which it almost certainly will be, I can tell you from my firsthand experience from myself, but also from what I've seen from others, it is worth it. Because the greatness that you will unlock vis-a-vis that journey will eclipse any amount of short-term or mid-term pain, sacrifice, suffering that you may have to experience as you walk through that journey. So in short, it's worth it. It's worth it. Again, I'm giving you firsthand testimony, but I also invite you to explore the testimony of others who've walked along a similar path. And I'm not even dictating to you what that has to look like. I'm not dictating a particular path, whether it be religious or even spiritual. I'm just giving you guideposts and principles for you to step into, because everything in this reality is based on principles. The second big reason why you're struggling to be sovereign is you're not really committed. You're not fully committed to what it takes to be sovereign, to activate your sovereignty, to really step into that greatness. So there's a lack of commitment. And go back to the first reason for reference, because that will tie into this. And also see if you've really captured in your imagination a vision for what you're actually looking to do. How committed are you to this path? And why is it important to you? Why is being sovereign important? I certainly hope it's not just because other people are saying it's important, or it seems to be in fashion, or it seems to be what other people are doing, so I should do the same thing. Those are all very poor reasons to want to be sovereign or to desire that. A much better reason would be to tap into who you really are vis-a-vis the first step that I mentioned, and come up with your vision for yourself and your life. And obviously have some emotion around that. When you paint a big enough vision that you can feel enthusiasm, you can feel captivated or inspired by the vision of what's possible, you're going to be able to find the motivation to make the commitments you're going to need to move forward. So you're going to have to really be committed, because there's things you're going to have to learn. There's things you're going to have to practice until you become good at them. And that's all going to take time. So lack of commitment also means lack of discipline. So when you're not committed, you're not likely to activate your willpower in the sense of getting done what needs to be done. You're much more likely to procrastinate, to let things slip, and then to come back and just complain about it later when you could have easily addressed it. So lack of commitment is one of the main reasons why perhaps you perhaps not. And certainly many people are struggling to be sovereign. And the antidote to that, like I said, building on top of the first issue, is to have a bigger vision for yourself. Have a vision that you can really get enthusiastic and inspired by. Building on top of that, the third reason why you and others may be struggling with activating your sovereignty is lack of discipline. Lack of discipline. All kinds of excuses. Oh, I'm ADHD, so I can't focus, or OCD, or something else, or I don't have time for this. I can't make the time for it. Lots of excuses. Or I'm not strong enough for that. I'm not smart enough for that. Sovereignty is not about intellect. You could have an 80 IQ and be sovereign. Maybe even lower than that, if we want to be honest here. So it's not about your level of intelligence, or in this case, intellect, because intelligence is holistic. It actually is, to an extent, about your intelligence when you bring it together holistically. So it's more about the balance. Yes, you have the intellect, you're reasonable, you can reason and logic, you can reason your way through things using logic, and you also have an emotional component. You can feel the truth. You can feel what's right or what's important. So if you're lacking discipline, because you're making all these excuses, not much is going to happen. I can tell you. I can just guarantee you that. Go back and see what I said about number 2, lack of a commitment, and of course number 1, being very outwardly focused, because these things are building atop of each other. Okay, so when you spend the time mastering yourself, when you build up enough of a vision that you have a bigger commitment, you're going to find the willpower to be disciplined. And that discipline is going to translate into the tangible results that you receive. What's the next big reason why you're struggling to be sovereign? Well, in a word, it's fear. You're too afraid, you're too risk averse, not willing to take some chances. Of course, I'm talking about calculated risks, not reckless risks, or just doing things just because you desire them without really thinking them through. So I'm not drawing an extreme here. I'm talking about a healthy balance of risk. Let's be honest, life is dangerous. Living is dangerous. There are all constant threats. We're constantly being threatened. Our lives, may not even be aware of some of the threats that we're facing all the time. Everything is a risk, in the sense that even if you can't necessarily get physically hurt by doing something, when you take a certain action, there's no guarantee you're going to get the outcome that you desire. So there's risk in terms of outcomes. But I've noticed from speaking to many of you in network, during the consultations that I conduct in particular, many of you are just paralyzed. I call it paralysis by analysis. Paralysis by analysis. You need to spreadsheet everything. You need to have it all spelled out. You need all the scenarios laid out for you. And even then, you're not likely to take action, because some kind of fear is holding you back. You have to become fearless. Developing courage, becoming bold and fearless is a big part of being sovereign. Because to be sovereign means to be self-sufficient, to rule yourself so that others don't have to rule you. And just given the nature of reality and not being able to predict what's necessarily going to happen, you're going to have to take some risks. Okay? So it's about taking good risks, measured risks, but at some point you're going to have to pull the trigger. You're going to have to go for it. So I see a lot of people struggling with that, and studying. It's kind of like taking it to the other extreme. It's important to have study. It's important to educate yourself. But when the study becomes the end and it never ends and there's no action, ain't nothing going to happen. You're just going to be stuck where you're at. And I'm not going to single out anyone in particular, but I've definitely seen folks in our community who seem to be stuck at the same point for a long period of time. And I've got to think that largely it's because they are stuck in some kind of fear pattern, and they're not willing to take certain risks to just move everything forward. So you're going to have to build up some courage. And obviously, as you gain knowledge, that will encourage you, because you'll operate from a higher state, from a higher consciousness, and from more knowledge. But at some point, you are going to have to just go for it. And it may be helpful to surround yourself with people who are more courageous so that some of that rubs off. Certainly within our community, we are cultivating a community where you can be around others who are building courage and who have courage to take action, so that you can be inspired by them as well. All right, that brings us to the fifth reason why you're struggling to be sovereign. This will be the last one that I'll touch on in this video. Of course, there are probably many other factors, but I wanted to give you 5 that will really help you. Speaking of helping others, if you could help me by, if you've made it this far in the video, if you're enjoying this, please give a like on the video. Show your love by smashing through that like button. And if you like this content and would like to receive more, you may want to consider subscribing. So now let's get to the 5th reason. The 5th reason is very simple: lack of mentorship. Lack of mentorship. You need to be surrounding yourself with, or being educated by, and being guided by those who embody what you want to embody, those who have perhaps what you would desire in life, or at least a model of that. You need to have mentors, people who have walked down the path and can help guide you and can indicate to you what are some of the obstacles that you may encounter and how to address them from their own real world experience. Mentorship doesn't just have to be one-on-one, although that's a great way to be mentored. I do have a one-on-one mentor, and I also have mentors that I don't necessarily study with them one-on-one, although I do have access to them if I wanted to do that. So it's kind of a mix, and I would encourage you to do the same thing. One of the reasons why we created our different memberships and member tiers at the Freedom Studio is we wanted to provide containers where everyone, wherever they're at, can come in and start to be exposed to great knowledge, but also be mentored when appropriate. That's why at the Freedom Studio, I am still running most of our study sessions. We do have other advisors who are coming in and helping out as well, as they will continue to, but I'm still very principally involved. So in a way, every time you show up for one of our private study sessions, you're allowing me and those who participate to help mentor you. Okay? There is no, there's nothing noble or honorable about trying to figure it all out on your own. Could you do that? Sure. Is that a good use of your time? Probably not. We do have limited time in our lifetime, and if you want to achieve great things in your lifetime, it's going to be important to find some shortcuts. Not shortcuts in terms of bypassing what's important, but shortcuts in terms of not having to repeat all the same mistakes that others have made, and kind of finding the shortest path to your destination so that you don't have to meander all over the place. So having mentorship is very important. And the Freedom Studio, we do offer plenty of opportunities to do that, again, through our private member associations, our membership tiers, and also through even one-on-one mentorship with me and with our other advisors for the select few who are looking to basically take it to another level. So you certainly don't have to join us, but whether it's the Freedom Studio or some other organization, I definitely encourage you to not be just trying to figure it all out on your own. Don't be that lone wolf who's got to figure it all out. Build on the success of others. Learn from others, learn what's working, learn what's not working, pay attention, and ask for help when appropriate. Ask others to help you, ask others to give you good guidance and good advisory. I would say even great advisory, so that you're not, again, starting and trying to build everything from scratch. So I hope that's been helpful. I've given you 5 main reasons why you may be struggling to be sovereign. And I'm certain that there will be many people who hear this video or watch this video or hear me speaking that at least one of those, if not several, is going to speak to them directly. So this video was really meant for you if you're one of those people. And I just want to tell you, you can be great. You can be sovereign. You can unlock your infinite worth. You can achieve great things in this life, probably much bigger than you've even imagined, as long as you commit to the path. Okay, so address the 5 items that I've mentioned here, or any of them if they resonate with you. If you need additional help, we are here to help. We've got, like I said, many education programs, ongoing education. We have our free monthly workshops. The workshop is called The Way of the Sovereign. As of this recording, the next workshop is on Sunday, August 17th at 11:11 a.m. Eastern for about 4 hours on Zoom. It's not too late to register as long as you're watching this before the 17th. But if you're not, that's okay. There'll be a workshop in September and beyond. So just jump in. We have our online communities, which are free to join. And then, like I said, for people who want to really step up, we have a couple of different member tiers that you can consider. Everything you could want to learn about us, you can find at one link, thefreedom.studio. That's thefreedom.studio. I certainly look forward to meeting you in network and seeing what you're able to achieve and helping you to be great. Thank you very much, and I'll see you very soon.